Hello everybody, welcome to Coco's Crochet. I'm Litza and this is Coco, and we're here this evening to talk to you about our crocheted winter makes. Before we get started though, I'd just like to tell you that Coco did go to the beauty parlor yesterday and she's so fresh, ready for Christmas Day. She's nice and short, her fur, as it has been getting warmer here, but today, let me tell you, it was very, very cool. This is what prompted me to make this video, because I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if some of my winter crocheted items were about? And I did go and find them all. And then I thought, well, we have a lot of friends that live in very cold climates at the moment, so it might be a nice idea to share what we made over the winter period. So maybe, you know, that would inspire some of you to make them, or you could share what you've made or are making at the moment as well. So I'll just give Coco her tomato. Here it is. She is loving the idea of this, aren't you? There she is. She's a little bit sniffly tonight. I hope she's okay, because the weather has changed terribly, as I said. But what I'll do now is I'll just pop her on the floor so she really enjoys this. Oh, look at her holding on. So just one moment, I'll pop her down. There you go. Good girl. She's going to enjoy that, believe me. She's been looking at it for a little while. So where do I begin? Well, I think the most important things, or the things that I enjoyed making the most, were Coco's jumpers. So I do have them here to show you. You may have seen her wearing them. I think in our very, very first podcast she was wearing them. So I have made 3 for her. They're very, very simple. And for 2 of them I used the, just my favorite yarn, the Spot Saver, which I believe is a 10-ply yarn from memory, and I used a 5mm hook for them, and then one of them I used just some mill ends. Now I have to say that since I made these, Coco has lost a little bit of weight, so let me tell you, these stitch markers have really come in handy, because this little bit was dragging around her belly, so I just made them a little bit tighter for her. But they're just very simply made with the double crochets and some single crochets. And this one, I thought I'd pretty it up. It can be her little frock, and I did those little, I think they're called picots, around the edge. And this one is just a very simple striping yarn that I had in some mill end bags that was just left over, so I utilized that. So very quick and easy to make. Unfortunately, I can't remember the exact pattern that I used, and I did try to go through the YouTube tutorials to see if I could bring it up for you, but many tutorials come up by many different makers for little doggy jumpers. So I'm sure if you needed to make one, you could find a pattern quite easily. So they're the first items I want to show you, but I did want to show you very quickly some photos of Coco wearing her little jumpers, because this is cuteness overload as far as I'm concerned. Oh, that's when she had her little knee surgery. She's fine. And there she is there. What a supermodel, right? Anyway, so that was one of the very first things that I made, and I was so proud of myself, and also I was so happy that Coco could use them and keep warm, because as you've all noticed, she always has a very short coat. Now, and then I thought, okay, I need to make some items for the family. And I have to say that if there was a competition other than at Christmas time for the world's ugliest jumper, I think this one would win the prize. But my partner, to his credit, God love him, he has worn this not only around the house, which was what it was originally intended for, but he's actually worn it out as well. So I will show you. This jumper was made from mill ends. This jumper was an experiment. This jumper does not have a pattern. This is when I actually thought, oh wow, I can be a creator. But let me tell you, I learned along the way that it's sometimes a good idea to follow a pattern at first, and then you can try. So it starts off like this. So basically all I did was double crochet, and I crocheted 2 panels, beg your pardon. I'm not sure if you can see it all. And then I did some ribbing at the bottom, which was just back post and front posts, and I did the same around the neck. But what makes me laugh is these sleeves, because, and it's got a nice little cuff, because this yarn was thicker to this yarn. I doubled it up, and these are very, very heavy. Lucky my partner has very strong arms. So that was the first jumper that I ever made, and I have to say that it has been loved and worn many a time. And I thought I'd make him a matching beanie to go with it, because I had watched a few tutorials how to make beanies. So this was one of the very first beanies that I ever made. One of the easiest beanies with a little bit of the ribbing again, and I put a big fuzzy pom-pom on top of it, one of those snap lock ones. Just bought those off Amazon. So that was the very first little set that I made for my partner. Now I have to say that since then I did make him a beautiful jumper, as we call it, or sweater, and I'll put my glasses on so I can tell you the little stats. Now this is the improved version. This is the front of it. So again, it's made in double crochets with some ribbing. But what I did, just slightly altered the pattern in the front panel. I did some puff stitches just to, give it a little bit more character, because I thought, because the back is all double crochets as well. But this is one of the most softest jumpers, and it's so beautiful to wear, and it's got a lovely drape to it as well. I used the Heartland line brand Heartland yarn, and it is a premium acrylic. This is the color. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up. There's like little blue flecks in it as well, and it is a 100% acrylic. It comes in 5 ounces or 142 gram balls, and each one has 251 yards or 230 meters. And I used a 7mm hook. Now let me tell you that this was my third attempt to get it right, the right sizing and the right drape, because originally I was using a 5mm hook, which is, I think that's what it says on the ball band. Apologies, it's very small, but it just wasn't working. So that's, 3 attempts, I think, is pretty, some people might think, oh, really, you kept persevering? But I wanted to really make it for my partner, and I really wanted to use this yarn because it was beautiful. And I was very lucky that at the time, as always, I like to buy my yarn on sale. It was down from, I think, $12 to $8 a ball. And I roughly from memory, because I haven't got the ball bands for this one, I used about 7 balls to make it. So this is a jumper that I am proud, and I am happy that my partner likes it and wears it all the time. So that's kept him warm all throughout our winter, which has been wonderful. Now, they're the only 2 articles or garments that I've made him so far, but I am hoping to make him some more. I did make my son a jumper as well, which was just very simply the 2 panels and the sleeves, the ones that fall off, the shoulder a little bit, but I haven't got it. But I will show you the yarn. This was just Millends, the cakes that I used, but because this is a striping yarn, I thought I'd just mention it very quickly, because instead of having the stripes go horizontally, he wanted them to go long ways, up and down, and I did do that. So it's just the way that I put it together, and it turned out really nice, which is and if I never would have considered doing that before, I would have just kept the stripes going horizontally. But that's just something to think about when you're using self-striping yarn, if you haven't already thought of it yourself. So I'll put that away for now. And then I've got into a shawl making period where I just wanted to make shawls. I did make some for friends that I've given away, and one for my partner's mum, and that's kept them all very warm. But I did make 2 for myself, so I'll show you the ones that I've made and the yarn that I used. So this one, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'll just show you up close. This is what is known as the Phoenix shawl. See the border? And that's like a wing, so it creates like a wing. Now this is by Cinnamon Stitches. I think it's Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches, and I made it using 2 balls, which is about 200 grams, and it's of this Millen's yarn, and it is quite fine. I used a 5mm hook, I think, from memory. Let me see if I've written it down. I think I may have. Yes, 5mm hook. So with this, if I was to make it again though, which I may very well do so, because this is really nice. I wear it just in bed at night, like I drape it over my shoulders, and it's just that length there. It could actually go a bit longer if I thought, you know, if I was to make it again and maybe use 3 balls, but it is, I just think it's beautiful. I like how it's got that around the neck too. It makes it a little bit different, and it sits in the nape of your neck very, very nicely. And I love the effect that it has when you just sit it on you because of the bottom layer there. So that's one shawl that I made for myself, and I'm so happy. You know, I really am very proud of that as well. And it wasn't a hard shawl at all to make. But the shawl that I really love, and I have to tell you, when I have it at home or at work, everyone wants to wear it as well because it's just really, really soft. It's a beautiful shawl, and I'll show you up close just the design of it. And down the bottom, I added some pom-poms, which I just thought gave it a nice look. I'll try to put it on for you so you can see the length of it. It is beautiful. So it's quite long. This one's really, really nice, and I just love wearing it. I used, again, Millen's, and I used this colorway here, which I'm not sure what it is, but obviously some beautiful blues. I couldn't tell you exactly, I'm sorry, how many of these I used, but I would say at the very least 1 bag, which is about 400 grams. I wouldn't make that one any bigger than what it is, but I will give you a few little stats on that one. So this one was by Crystal from Bag O Day. She has so many beautiful shawls. The other ones that I made as well, which I'm sorry I don't have any photos of, were her patterns as well. So this one is the Annabelle shawl, and I used a 6mm hook with the Millen's yarn, and it's tutorial number 727. I will put all this information in the description box down below for whoever, you know, is interested and would like to look it up. So they're the 2 shawls that I've got, like triangular shawls. But then I thought, oh my goodness, everyone is talking about pocket shawls. So I did make this pocket shawl twice. The first time it turned out humongous. Don't know what went wrong, but obviously, excuse me, it was easy enough to rectify. I just remade it, and I love this yarn. Now, there's the pocket there. And again, when I wear this at work and I have or when I go out, I drape it over my shoulders like that. And I love the fact that I can put my hands in my pockets and actually keep them warm. So it's like having mittens, built-in mittens. Or, you know, I like to put like a little tissue or something in there as well in case I need it, where, you know, for the winter months, because I'm always forever having, you know, to use one. So that's my pocket shawl. This was again made from Millen's, probably, I'd say 1.5 balls, 2 balls max, so about 200 grams. The pattern is by Nastasia, and it is just called the pocket shawl. So, you know, if you want to look that up, that's the one there. So there it is up close for you. I just love the colors, and there's the pocket. Very easy to make. If you haven't made one before, highly, highly recommend it, because it is very, very useful, and it keeps you very, very warm. Like I said, it keeps your hands very warm as well. And then I thought, oh, okay, now I need to make a poncho. And I did make a poncho, and the poncho that I made is this one, and I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Here's the pattern here up close. I know it's a little bit difficult to see because of the black, but what it is, it's a 3-row repeat, and it is by Bag O Day, again, Crystal's pattern. And this one, I made it using the Semco yarn, which is an 8-ply acrylic yarn, but it is quite thin. I'll just show you there. I'm hoping you can see that. it's quite thin for an 8-ply yarn. So what I did is, and it's made it a little bit heavy, but that's okay, I don't mind that at all. I used 2 strands throughout when I had the black, and then I I used 1 strand of each when I was doing, you know, the color, this color bit here, so that because this yarn doesn't go very far, there's not much meterage in it, and it's a little bit more expensive than this one, so it made it go longer. Now the stats on these, as I said, this is a acrylic yarn, and it is beg your pardon, 230 balls per 230 meters per ball. It does say to use a 4mm hook, but I used a, where have I written it down, 6mm hook, because I did use 2 strands. And this one the same. This one is only 50 grams, 4mm hook. Again, it is thin as well, but because I doubled it up, I used the 6mm hook, as I said. This one, the stats are pretty much, where are they? It is an acrylic yarn, and it's got some of the sparkle in it as well. So it's got the polyester, 93% acrylic and 7% polyester. But I think they came up very nicely. I wanted something rainbowy, but I also wanted something darker for the winter. So that was the happy compromise. I will pop it on for you just so you can have a look at how it looks, have a little see. Look at this. Oh, wow. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And let me tell you, when you're wearing this, you feel like you've got a blanket on, and it really does keep you very, very, very warm. Excuse me while I take that off as well. So they're the items that I made for myself, and then I started making items for friends and family, and then I went back to myself. So let me go to the other little items that I've made, which are absolutely gorgeous. As far as, sorry, I've got fluffs everywhere and I'm getting a little bit itchy, but it's all good. So I did then start to get a little bit more confident with what I was making, and we have quite a few little babies in our family, which I adore and I talk about all the time. Now, they're toddlers now, they're not babies anymore, but we are getting new babies all the time, which is very, very exciting. So what I made for, for Talia and Jordan, who are twins, and then baby Ollie, they were all around the same age. So we're talking about between 1 year and 18 months old. I made them all some monster pants, and I absolutely love them. So this is the front, and I made them a matching beanie. And, oh, beg your pardon, that's the back of the monster pants. I hope you can see that. And that's the front. That light is a bit bright, sorry. I just think they're adorable. So that one was for Jordan. This one is for Talia. Well, it is Talia's. I just love it. They just make me so happy. And then this is what the front looks like of her one. And then baby Ollie came along, so we couldn't have him missing out. So I made him a little pair as well. Slightly different colours, a bit of grey in there for him. Now, and they all got a matching beanie because I had learned how to make beanies, and I thought, well, you have to. Now with these, I made my own pom-poms. The pom-poms need work, let me tell you, and that's something I need to practice. But that's okay, we will get there in the end. Now the pattern that I used to make all of these little baby monster pants was by Yarn Utopia by Nadia. It's a beautiful tutorial, and for all of them I used the Marvel 8-ply yarn and a 5mm hook. So, you know, all the colors that you saw there, there's, you know, masses and masses of them. I'm very lucky. So I just used that because I thought, you know, being little babies, you don't want something very heavy on them to overheat them as well. And also when, you know, they have to get washed, their clothes, you want them to dry very quickly. That's why I went with the 8mm yarn. And the Marvel yarn does wash up very, very nice and very, very soft. It's a little bit stiff to work with, I think, at first, a little bit rougher than what it is when you wash it. So that was what I made for the little babies. And then my son's girlfriend, who is amazing because she has fiance now, no longer the girlfriend, she's now our fiance. She just says yes to anything. I say, I'm going to try to make you this. And she just says, yeah, thank you. So one of the very first cardigans I made for her, and I haven't got it here. And the only thing I need to add to them is some little yellow daisies. I haven't done that as yet, but I'm hoping to do it this year. But she just wanted to wear it, and there was no issue at all. This was her favorite color, the green at the time, and I didn't use this is another one that I didn't use a pattern for. It was just the 8-ply Marvel yarn, and I did use a 5mm hook, and I did make it, I don't know if you could see it there properly, but I used the lemon peel stitch. So one double crochet, one single crochet, and all the way across, and then when you return, then you put the single on the double and the double on the single. And I did a little bit of ribbing around the sleeves and the bottom just to keep it together. At the time, we didn't know if we wanted buttons or not on it, and we weren't sure about the daisies. By looking at it now, I think this, for next year, we might add some of those. So that was one that I made for her. And then she came across a pattern, a jumper that she kept seeing everywhere. And she showed me some photos, and I wish I had it here to make it for you. And this is what we came up with. It's actually really, really pretty. Again, using the Marvel 8-ply yarn with a 5mm hook, and it's quite simply just some double crochets with chains and then all the way across, and a little bit of ribbing around the bottom and a bell sleeve. So that came out very nicely as well for her. And then I thought, everybody was making the hexagon cardigans. They were, something that was talked about a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden it had come back into fashion. So I thought, oh, okay, one day I'd like to make that. And then there was a huge sale on some chunky yarn at Big W. This is the Yarn Maker Chunky Twist. This is a beautiful colorway. This is the blues. What's it called? This one is called, oh, let me see if I can find the color. Sorry, guys. This one's called Baltic Sea, but I didn't use this color. I just wanted to show you how bulky this yarn actually is. It's actually 60% acrylic and 40% polyester. It is it's like a twirl. It's like the way it's all spun together. The colors are twirled together. They're 200-gram balls, and there's approximately 38 meters in each ball. So as you can imagine, you need quite a bit of this to make a cardigan. And it does say to use a 12mm hook, which I did do. This is the one that I made for her. So basically, if you're not familiar with a hexagon cardigan, there are many, many tutorials on it. So you basically make 2 hexagons, and then you join them at the back, and voila, you have a jump cardigan. But I use the colorway Evening Sand. So that's the one that I used, and I ended up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 balls, which is about 350 meters, I'm guessing, 340 meters. So that was because of the thickness of this yarn, because it is, a chunky, so soft, a chunky yarn. It keeps her very, very warm, believe me. And the other thing that I made for her, she really, really liked, and this was going to be a crocheted item, cardigan, but it ended up being a hand knit. I know it's not crochet, but I will show it to you because it is using this yarn, which is humongous. It is the V Lux Jumbo, and this is what it looks like up close, the hand knitting. I don't think these photos do it great justice, but you can get an idea of what it is, what it looks like. That's the front, and here's the back. So this one, I used the colorway which I just showed you, which is mulberry. That's that one. And then this is all that I've got left of this one. Oh, but I can't show you how thick it is. And it is a tube, so I'll show you at the end what it looks like when it's cut. See, it's hollow inside and it's quite squishy. And this one is the colorway, the minty color one is called Sea Spray. So I used, the majority was Sea Spray. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the Sea Spray. And I used 2 in the mulberry. Yeah, mulberry, just to make it. So 6, 7, 8 balls. Now the stats on this, it's each ball is 200 grams or 7 ounces. You get 21 yards or 19 meters. So you don't get very much in each one, but it does work up very quickly because it is so chunky. And as I said, he originally wanted a 19 millimeter hook, which we did buy, and I was hoping to find it because it's huge. I wanted to show it to you. And in the end, it just wasn't working for, I couldn't hold it. I think it was a bigger, no, it says 19 millimeter. I don't know why I'm thinking it was bigger. But anyway, I couldn't, use it properly. So in the end, I just opted to do the hand knitting. I watched the tutorial and off I went and created that. So that was a lot of fun. I must say, it took a couple of days because I had to work out my tension. But other than that, it was a lot of fun to make. And then the most recent thing that I've made for myself, and I'll show it to you, is this long cardigan and beanie. So this is another Bag O Day pattern, and I'll show you the sleeve so you can get an idea. I think this might be called the box or brick stitch. It has one row where it's like a granny stitch, and then on the other row you do double crochet and some chains. And then when you come back, you repeat it, and it's all, it's beautiful because it's all the same. There's no wrongs. There is a wrong and a right side is what I'm trying to say, beg your pardon. And it is a very long cardigan, and it is meant to be like just very relaxed look. So I'll just pop it on for you. It's like a coat almost. So, whoops, where's my other sleeve gone? There. So if you can imagine, it's meant to have the big sleeves, and it's meant to just cross over. And because it is, so big, I did make a little belt for it. So I can tie it around and make it, if I wish to, I do, and I, have it more fitted. Otherwise, I take it, just have it the way it is, with my tights and my top underneath. And I did myself a matching beanie. Just again, one of the very, very simple beanies with a little bit of ribbing. And it's actually a nice little set. And I made this using a bag of Millens, this beautiful yarn here, which I love. It's a tweed, I'm guessing a blue, like a steely blue tweed color. And I just really, really enjoyed working with it, and I love wearing it. And I have gotten a lot of use out of this cardigan. Now the pattern again is by Crystal from Bag O Day. And it is, like I said, I used Millens, and I used a 10 millimeter hook for it just to make sure that the drape was, super drapey. Sorry, the feel of it. But if I was to make it again, I'd probably use an 8 millimeter hook, because being an acrylic, this and being so big, this does sort of hang a little bit more, or maybe I could make it a little bit smaller, maybe a few less stitches. Either way, I have to play around with it, because I probably would like to make it again in a different color. And this is it's known as the Chunky Crochet Cardigan, or the Green Acres Cardigan. And it is meant to be oversized, as I said. So if you don't like it so much oversized, just use less stitches. And this pattern and this stitch, it really does work up very, very quickly. I really enjoyed making it. So that's something I'd like to make again in the future. So I'm looking around, and I think that I've shown you everything other than, and they've all fallen here. This was the very, very first beanie that I made. I know the colors are crazy, and it's just, It's just a sample. It was just a sample, I beg your pardon. But since then, I love this color. Everyone in my family got this beanie. I know I'm showing you the same thing twice. How silly. And all the rest have left the house. And then I was getting my children's friends ring and say, can I please have one in green? And, you know, I'd make it in green, etc., etc. So, you know, I was on a, you know, crazy beanie crocheting little period there as well. So that was a lot of fun, keeping everybody's heads warm. So apologies if I'm all messed up from, you know, putting on all the different bits and pieces for you. I hope you've enjoyed that little segment of ours. I am going to be continuing to try different things, so if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. I do really enjoy making shawls. I'm not sure if you guys are the same. I love making shawls. I think more so than ponchos. I don't mind making the poncho, but you know, the shawls you know, work up quicker, and there are so many patterns out there that I like to try. So maybe for next winter I'll be trying some more. I'd like to make some more jumpers, obviously, you know, for the whole family. My son has already put an order in for a black one. I haven't made one for myself as yet because I think I prefer the cardigans for myself and the shawls, as I said. But I would like to make some baby clothes. I'd like to try to make some little like jumpsuits, some pretty little cardies and some dresses. So maybe that's what I'll be working on next year. We'll see how we go. But I definitely have plans to also try, which I haven't tried as yet, to make some mittens and some gloves and some socks. So we'll see how we go. There are a few little items that I'd like to add to my repertoire. Other than that, at this stage, I'm quite happy with what, you know, I've made so far. I hope, as I said, you've enjoyed what, you know, seeing what I've made, and please let me know if you've made any of the same or similar items, or if you have any suggestions, you know, that I should add to my little list of makes for the near future. So I hope that you've all had some crochet time in, because for me it's the end of the weekend and I've got 2 more days of work, people. I am so excited, and then I have a lovely long break, so I'll be able to see you guys more. I'll be able to, you know, get a lot of crochet in and just enjoy, you know, having the time where I, you know, stress-free, not having to worry about those many hours that we spend at work, and, you know, it takes us away from the fun things. But let's be real, work is very important too, so I'm very grateful that I do have a job, and a job that I love going to. On that note, I hope you're all keeping warm wherever you are. I know most parts of the world quite now are, you know, at the moment are quite cold. I was very shocked and surprised that the last 2 days we've had a cold snap here in Sydney, and it was, you know, I had to bring out the long tights again, and the, you know, the cardies had to come on. But it was a good opportunity to give me an idea for this video. So I just hope you're all well. Keep safe. Be kind to one another and always to yourself. And Coco and I will see you all again in another video. Bye bye, everybody. Take care.